3,000 gross tons. What does it mean and why should you care?
Work on a super yacht, move up through the ranks and maximize your potential.
Hello and welcome to Work on a Super Yacht. If this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in making the most of your time in the super yachting industry, I suggest you start by clicking the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay notified of future videos to the channel. So, what is it about this magical 3,000 number? Well, despite the fact that when you enter the yachting industry, all you'll hear people talk about is the length of a yacht.
He works on an 80 metre.
She's got an interview for a job on a 50 metre.
That's a 65 metre.
Once a yacht gets over 24 metres in length, many of the regulations that apply to it care little about its length. Instead, what they're interested in is gross tonnage. Now, don't get confused into thinking that gross tonnage is some sort of measure of mass or weight. In fact, gross tonnage is a measure of volume and relates to the internal volume of the vessel, from keel to funnel, bow to stern. It is the reason why a shorter but broader or beamier boat can have a greater gross tonnage than a longer but far narrower boat. It is also the reason why you may have heard the yacht Dilbar described as the largest yacht in the world, when in fact she is far from being the longest. Instead, it is her colossal gross tonnage that gives her this accolade. This image shows how length is such a poor means of describing the actual size of a vessel. Now, I know that in this image, Jubilee looks a little bit smaller because she is further away than Dilbar. But it doesn't change the fact that although Dilbar is less than 1.5 times the length of Jubilee, she does in fact have over 3 times the volume. If you must link length to gross tonnage, then for yachts it is around the 90 to 100 metre mark that they start to meet and exceed this 3,000 gross ton threshold. To be clear, there are many other regulations that apply to all different types of vessels at different points between 200 gross tons and 10,000 gross tons. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to concentrate on yachts and 3,000 gross tons, because this is the point at which all those Yacht 3,000 tickets that we all work so hard to get essentially become unrecognised. There are some instances where special dispensations have been made, but for the most part, if you want to serve as a deck officer on a yacht over 3,000 gross tons, then you'll be needing the unlimited qualifications. So, instead of the Officer of the Watch 3,000, Chief Officer 3,000 and Master 3,000 tickets that you may have already heard of, you'll be wanting the Officer of the Watch Unlimited, Chief Officer Unlimited, or Master Mariner, the highest possible qualification within merchant shipping. Now, if you're only planning to be in the industry for a couple of years, this might not have much of an effect on you. But if you see this as something more long-term, then it could have a significant impact on your career down the line. Let's take a look at a few scenarios to see how this might be. Scenario 1. You joined a yacht over 3,000 gross tons as a deckhand. You really enjoy it there. You've worked your way up to lead deckhand and then to bosun, only to find that that is as high as you can go on that yacht. Nothing wrong with that at all, but what if you want to go higher? What if you want to work as a deck officer on that yacht? It won't be an option for you. Scenario 2. You already hold a Yacht 3,000 ticket and you're working as a deck officer on a yacht under 3,000 gross tons. You really enjoy working for this owner, but then you find out that the owner is building a bigger yacht and you won't be eligible to serve as a deck officer on the new yacht. Scenario 3. Some yachts require that you hold an unlimited qualification to serve as a deck officer on board, even though the yacht itself is actually under 3,000 gross tons. This is not because the regulations require it, but rather because the owner and the management company have decided that only those with the higher grade qualifications are capable. Scenario 4. You've decided that you've had enough of working for all these high net worth individuals. Maybe you want to go and work on a cruise ship, or maybe you've had enough of people altogether and you instead want to move onto cargo ships. It might seem unlikely now, but you never know. Herein lies the second limitation with these Yacht 3000 tickets. They are for yachts only, which means that you will be unable to serve as a deck officer on any other type of ship, regardless of size. What to do? Well, if you think any of these scenarios could be a problem for you in the future, you have 3 options. The first option is to do a cadetship. A cadetship is where a company, such as BP, sponsors you to undertake the training to get your Officer of the Watch Unlimited ticket. It takes 3 years, and there will be periods of time at sea on board the ships owned by the company, and time at a maritime college where you'll be doing all of your courses. Once you're done, as a condition of your sponsorship, you may be required to stay on with that company for at least another year. But once that's done, you're free to return to the superyachting industry, possibly as a deckhand at first, but within a relatively short time, you'll be able to start looking for positions as a deck officer on a yacht of a size of your choosing. The second option is to get your unlimited qualifications whilst working on yachts. Remember, however, that unlike the Officer of the Watch 3000 ticket that only requires you to get 250 actual days at sea, the unlimited qualification requires that you get 3 years of actual days at sea. That's 1,095 days, which, depending on the yacht that you're working, could take an awfully long time to get. The third option is to first get your Yacht 3000 tickets and then convert them to unlimited tickets down the line. But this will likely require the redoing of modules, extra time and money, plus the requirement to still get that massive amount of sea time. Therefore, it isn't something that I'd recommend aiming for from the outset. I once had to choose between these 3 options. It was 2012, I was 25 years old, and I'd got about 15 months' experience as a deckhand under my belt. With the encouragement of an engineer that I was working with at the time, I got my stuff together and I actually applied to do a cadetship. My application was processed and I was invited to come for interview. But at the very same time, a job came up on a yacht that I had always wanted to work on, a 93 metre at almost 4,000 gross tons. 25-year-old me looked at the options: 3 years doing this cadetship thingy, or go straight into a job on this yacht that I'd always wanted to work on with a good salary, travelling the world, and I'd work out the officer thing down the line. I think it's pretty obvious to you which option I chose, but what happened? I fell off track with all the distractions. Partying, chasing girls, going on holiday, and generally just having a good time. Do not underestimate the focus and commitment required to attain any of these qualifications. A couple of years later, I decided that yachting wasn't for me at all. I went back to the UK, spent a year doing something or nothing, and then I went to London for a couple of years, doing all sorts of jobs, which, in hindsight, really didn't benefit me at all. Now I know that it's all about the journey at the end of the day, and I have learnt many great lessons along the way and met many great people. But it doesn't change the fact that had I have gone to that interview, I would have likely been accepted and gone on to get that Officer of the Watch Unlimited qualification. This is because the structure of the cadetship would have kept me on track and not given me the option to do anything else but get on and finish it. I would have been done by the time I was 29, and now, 4 years later, I would have likely been serving as a deck officer on a large yacht with a 2 months on, 2 months off rotation and with a little more time to work on these videos, helping you guys to make the most of your careers. If I could make the decision again, I'd go for the cadetship all day long. I hope that this has given you some food for thought. Of course, what is right for me is not necessarily what's right for you. I just want to make sure that you have all the information available to be able to make informed choices now and into the future. But if, like me, you're somebody who struggles to focus on the bigger picture when you're surrounded by all of these new and exciting distractions, then the cadetship could well be the best route to help you achieve your goals. I've put a few links to some companies that offer cadetships down in the description below so that you can find out a little bit more about it for yourself. I've also put a link to a page on the Warsash Maritime Academy website that gives you some information on how to go about getting an unlimited qualification whilst working on yachts. And finally, if you feel that the Yacht 3000 tickets are sufficient for your needs, go ahead and follow the link to download Merchant Shipping Notice 1858, which will tell you everything you need to know to get there. As always, thank you so much for watching. A like would be fantastic, a sub would be amazing, and I look forward to seeing you next time.